I know many of you enjoy using these videos to help you fall asleep. So before you start to drift off, it would be great if you could leave a comment sharing where you're listening from around the world. If you're enjoying the episodes, don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Now, let's get cozy, settle in, and begin. My friend recently introduced me to a new dating app meant for lonely people. Though its terms and conditions are unusual, to say the least, I don't get it. I stirred my iced pecan latte with a straw, not exactly the most masculine drink, but Amaya had gotten me into them, and now there was no going back. My previous coffee orders felt obsolete. Yeah, Josh, Amaya said, leaning back in her chair so far that the front legs lifted off the ground. Same, it honestly looks like Grinder. I laughed. Yeah, it kind of does. How would you even know what Grinder looks like, Cooper? I've just seen it, haven't you? I glanced back and forth between them, hoping to find a bit of understanding from Josh or sympathy from Amaya. All I got was laughter. I crossed my arms and sank lower into my seat. I know it's weird, Josh finally said. He flipped his baseball cap around to wear it backward, a habit of his whenever he got nervous. He probably did it 50 times a day. I used to joke it would make his hair curly. I don't even know who made this, he went on. Jackson said he found it on the dark web or something. Jackson, your cousin. Amaya cut in. Unimpressed? You're really trusting him on this? He's totally messing with you. Josh shot her a look but continued talking. Some people think it's part of a movie promo or a social experiment. Others say the profiles on the app are actually of dead people. Dead like ghosts. He shrugged, his face unreadable. No idea. Could be bots too. So what's the point of using it then? I asked, slurping the last of my drink. Some older women at the next table glanced over disapprovingly. I gave them an apologetic smile. It just sounds sketchy. Josh lit up, twisting his cap again and leaning closer like he was about to let us in on a big secret. Maya and I exchanged wary glances. People are actually finding love on there, he said in a loud whisper. On this weird app. Bots or ghosts, not exactly. The app figures out your type, and then somehow, people like that just find you or are drawn to you or something. So now it's some magical soulmate thing. Amaya's tone was sarcastic, as usual, but I could tell she was starting to lose patience given her recent breakup with Sean. Hadn't been in the best place emotionally. I couldn't blame her, even though I quietly felt a bit relieved she had more time to spend with us now. 2 years is a long time to be with someone. It was a big deal for her. I, on the other hand, hadn't been in a relationship for years. I couldn't even remember my last actual date. I used to think college would be full of parties and meeting people, but so far I'd been wrong. I had to admit what Josh was saying did sound tempting. If it was real, of course, which it obviously wasn't. Okay, but listen, Josh said, smiling awkwardly. I haven't even told you the weirdest part. What's that? Amaya asked, brushing her curls out of her face as she stared down her half-finished latte. Go on. Check this out. He held up his phone again. Amaya and I leaned in to see the same screen, a black background, a simple list of chat. Threads. He tapped a small question mark in the top corner, and the terms and conditions appeared. Terms and conditions if someone messages you, and you want to talk to them. You must reply within 10 minutes if you don't want to talk to someone. Reply with, thank you for your interest, but I am not open at this time. Wish you good luck with finding what you want. If you want to end a conversation, use the exact same phrase. If someone keeps messaging after you've sent the phrase, move to higher ground. Lock all windows and doors, and contact customer support immediately. Delete the app. Do not rate-download.do. Not send messages between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. Always say good night before going to sleep. Always say good morning as soon as you wake up. Always be polite. Never send more than one message at a time. Do not offer food. Never agree to meet up or share your location even if they say they already know it. Do not invite them to your home. If someone shows up near your home, move to higher ground. Lock everything and contact customer support. Delete the app. Do not download. Do not fall for their tricks. They will try. We are not responsible for any consequences of using this app. Amaya and I stared at the screen. We read it once, then again. Finally, Amaya rubbed her hands over her face. This has to be a joke. Josh shrugged and set the phone down. I know it sounds wild. You actually agreed to all that? I asked, suddenly uneasy. My latte wasn't sitting right anymore. Have you been using this? He looked a little guilty. Yeah, but just for fun. Wanted to see if there was anything to it. Jackson used it and met someone within a week. I met her, she seemed totally normal. I don't buy that. Amaya said, her face flushed as she anxiously tucked her hair behind her ear. And if this is some prank you two are playing, it's not funny. Not right now. No. Josh and I said in unison, drawing more stares. No, Amaya, Josh repeated. It's not a prank. I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to show you whatever. She stood, grabbing her bag. I'm not feeling great. I'll talk to you guys later. Amaya, I didn't finish. She tossed her half-full coffee in the trash and headed for the door. Josh and I exchanged looks. Dude, I swear I wasn't trying to upset her, he said, watching me closely. I nodded and wiped my hands on my jeans. I know. She's just having a rough time. I hesitated. Jackson really met someone that night. I downloaded the app. I wasn't proud of it, but curiosity got the better of me. And honestly, I was starting to feel desperate. Just wanted to meet someone kind and interesting if the app was fake. Fine, we'd laugh about it, but if it wasn't, Josh had already sent the link to our group chat. Amaya reacted with a thumbs down emoji. That meant she wasn't thrilled, but at least she wasn't furious. That was something. I clicked the link and downloaded the app, hoping I didn't just give my phone a virus. The app was bare bones, just a messaging screen. Mine was empty and the same terms and conditions. No profiles, no swiping, no bios. I was brushing my teeth when the first message came in. My phone buzzed and I nearly gagged on toothpaste when I saw it. Noel, hello handsome. Something about the smiley face made me uneasy. I checked the time, 11:30 p.m., so I was still within the rules. I tapped the message, her profile opened. No bio, just her name and a photo. A young woman, maybe my age, with curly dark hair and dark skin, stood in a yellow field wearing a floral dress. At first glance, it looked like a normal photo, but something felt wrong. Her smile seemed forced, unnatural, and her eyes looked off. Her pupils weren't quite right, though I couldn't say why. Just staring at the picture gave me a weird sense of dread. Panicking, I reviewed the rules again, then quickly typed the required phrase. Just in case, Cooper, thank you for your interest, but I am not open at this time. Wish you good luck with finding what you want. I waited. Typing bubbles appeared, then vanished. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I exhaled, relieved, and turned off my phone. By morning, I had to more messages. Alyssa and Jody. My pulse quickened. Had they messaged after midnight? Did I break the 10-minute rule? But then again, I wasn't supposed to reply at night anyway. Maybe that overrode it. I typed my replies without overanalyzing their profiles. Didn't want to overthink it and psych myself out. Alyssa, hi. Cooper, hey, good morning. Jody, hello, how are you today? Cooper, good morning. I'm doing well, how about you? I tried to match their tone, staying polite and remembering to greet them properly. But my heart wouldn't calm down while I got ready for work. I couldn't shake the fear I'd broken one of the app's rules. I knew it likely wasn't real, but what if it was? What would happen if I ignored the terms and conditions? At work, I got scolded more than once for checking my phone between waiting tables. I couldn't help it, even if the whole thing was a joke. I wasn't willing to test it. The only new message I got was from someone named Sunny, which I saw 8 minutes late. That left me anxious all day. All the way until just before midnight. Only then could I finally relax a bit. The other girls messaged occasionally, and I responded kindly, asking about their interests and favorite spots. Everything felt pretty typical except for a slight robotic tone in their texts, and something just off about their profile pictures. Maybe they were just well-programmed bots. That thought helped, honestly. Maybe they weren't even real. Only one message stood out. Alyssa, want to take me to dinner one night this week? Grab something to eat. It wasn't a strange question in a normal situation, but I remember do not offer them anything to eat. I replied that I had a packed schedule and wanted to get to know her first. She typed for a long time before sending back. Alyssa, okay. I sent my goodnights before midnight, exhaled a long, shaky breath, and called Josh. Hey man, what's up? He sounded out of breath, probably on one of his late night runs. I'd tried telling him it wasn't wasn't safe to run at night, and so had Amaya, but he never listened. Being a white, straight, pretty fit guy, he acted like nothing could hurt him. Like he was untouchable. This app is stressing me out, dude. I lay on my bed and closed my eyes. It's really getting to me, he laughed, slightly out of breath. You're taking it too seriously. I still think it might just be some weird marketing stunt. You'll get used to it, I have. Yeah. I paused. You talked to Amaya recently? A bit. Why? I'm just worried. She's been acting distant. Yeah, we should do something for her. Like, plan something nice. I smiled. The three of us had been tight since freshman orientation when we got grouped together. I figured the bond wouldn't last, but it did in such a huge school finding. Both of them felt like a win. Let's hang out tomorrow, sure thing. That night, I felt a little better, a little less anxious. I woke up to a flood of messages, some new, but mostly long threads from the girls I'd already spoken with. Alyssa, Cooper, don't go to bed. Talk to me, I miss you, can I come over? I'm moving soon, could you help me? You could make me dinner, Cooper, wake up, I'm all alone and I'm cold, it's so cold, he shivered. I skipped reading the rest and just replied with a morning greeting and an apology for not responding earlier. I really wasn't sure this app was for me. The next few days were uneventful. The girls still gave me the creeps, but they didn't seem dangerous and I stuck to the rules. I kept telling myself even if they seemed weird, I wasn't going to end up with them. If the app actually worked, I'd eventually be matched with someone real, someone perfect. Then I could delete it and move on. I gave myself another week. To that, I'd call it quits. Then Josh showed up at work on a Wednesday. I spotted him near the break room, looking down, hands fidgeting. The first thing I noticed, he wasn't wearing his hat. The second, he was crying. What's going on? I asked, frowning. You okay? He shook his head and looked up. His eyes were filled with panic and something else I'd never seen in him before. Cooper, Amaya's missing. She's gone. Only one thought hit me. Did she download the app too? Everything afterward was a blur. My manager gave me the day off. I went with Josh to the police station. I sat in a gray-walled room answering questions, trying not to cry when they told me Amaya's roommate hadn't seen her in over 24 hours. That morning, the roommate found the window broken and blood on the carpet, but no body. No signs of where she went. I felt awful. I should have called, should have checked in, but I was too caught up in work and that stupid app. The only thing keeping us from labeling it a suicide is the lack of a body, a female officer said gently. She placed a hand on my arm. Her roommate mentioned a recent breakup. Rage bubbled up in my chest. Amaya wouldn't do that. I met her, eyes trying to make her understand. I promise. But I could tell she didn't believe me. I crashed at Josh's place. We barely talked. Just grunted or whispered updates, but there weren't any. I completely forgot about the app. Until a week after she vanished. My phone had been buzzing constantly. I'd kept it off most of the time. Some messages were from my family, some from Amaya's, and others from friends and classmates. A few were still from the app. I didn't reply to much of anything. But then I saw one notification that stopped me cold. Amaya. Hi Cooper, it took me longer than it should have to realize what I was looking at. At first, I thought it was a normal text. My heart jumped out, then I realized it was from the app. I opened it and was swarmed by messages. Some from new matches, most from the same girls as before. That old fear crept back in like bile. Alyssa, Cooper, I'm coming over. I can come now. I know where you are. Can I come? Answer me. I'm going to come over. Jotty, meet me please now. And Sunny. Goldie ignored them all. My stomach churned. I tapped on the one from Amaya and looked at her profile picture. It was her. Picture I'd never seen taken at night with flash. Her hair was down around her face, which she hated. Her chin tilted slightly. She was smiling, but not her smile. It looked off, stiff, wrong. Her eyes, they were dull. Misaligned. Cooper, Amaya, is that really you? Are you okay? The typing dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. I stood up, pacing. Should I call Josh, the police? Was someone playing a sick joke? Then my phone buzzed. Amaya, I am near your home. I started crying. I wanted to throw my phone, smash it. Cooper, where are you? What happened? Amaya, 10 feet, me stomach dropped. Cooper, 10 feet from where? Amaya, it's cold here. It felt like swallowing broken glass. Cooper, thank you for your interest, but I'm not available 6 feet cold and dark. You knew what I should do. Lock the doors, secure the windows, get to high ground, call support, but I couldn't move. I just stared at the screen, at the messages frozen like a deer in headlights. She was typing again. My phone buzzed. My blood turned to iced out. It was 1:56 a.m. I was alone. No one else was there, and I had broken nearly every rule. Maya, let me in, Cooper. I have to show you where it took me. I'm hiding now, in the attic. I hear it below dragging from room to room. My phone's about to die. None of my calls are going through, but I had to get this out. Someone has to know. Josh, if you read this, I hope you're safe. I hope you followed the rules. I don't know where Maya is, but that isn't her. And if you see me again, I'm not sure it'll still be me. I'm sorry, Dad, it's typing again. I broke the last rule. I didn't delete the app. Wish me luck. A man gave me a box of his old family videos. After watching them, I finally understood why he was so desperate to get rid of them. My job is trash, literally. I'm a garbage collector. My day starts at 4 a.m. I pull on steel-toe boots and spend 8 hours hauling away what people no longer want. It's exhausting. Messy work, but it pays for my tiny apartment, and it's honest. You can learn a surprising amount about people from what they throw away. Most of it's just the usual, bags of household garbage, but occasionally you find something interesting, an old chair someone couldn't be bothered to fix, a stack of forgotten books. People discard the oddest things. My personal rule, if it's boxed and left off to the side, it's fair to take a look. That's how I ended up with the tapes. That had happened a few weeks ago. I was doing my usual rounds in a quiet, older suburb when a man, maybe late 20s, waved me down. He looked terrible. His eyes were wide and red-rimmed with dark, sunken circles beneath them. His hands trembled. "Hey," he croaked, "you're the trash guy, right? Can you just take this? Get it out of my house, please." He shoved a heavy cardboard box into my hands. It was sealed with a single strip of packing tape, slapped on carelessly. "Sure," I said. "Just leave it by the curb next time." "No," he replied quickly, glancing around like he was being watched. "I need it gone, now." Without another word, he turned and rushed back inside, slamming the door behind him. I shrugged, tossed the box in the cab of my truck to check later, and continued working. That night in my apartment, I opened it up. It was heavier than I expected. Inside were at least 50 old VHS tapes, big, clunky, unlabeled cassettes from the 90s. No writing, no markings, completely anonymous. I'll admit curiosity got the better of me. Who knew what might be on them? Old memories, maybe something strange. It was a glimpse into someone else's life, more interesting than the usual late-night TV reruns. I still had a thrifted VCR TV combo, so I dusted it off and slid in the first tape. The screen jumped to life with a burst of static, then faded into a shaky home video. It was a kid's birthday party backyard setting, screaming kids. A cake decorated with cartoon characters. The timestamp read 1998. I felt a strange wave of secondhand nostalgia. The clothes, background music, the grainy image. It was like opening a time capsule. And then I noticed one of the children, a skinny kid with a goofy grin. It was the man who gave me the box. The next few tapes were just like that. Christmas mornings, family vacations, awkward school plays. I watched him grow from a child into an awkward teen. It felt strangely personal, peeking into someone else's private moments. Mostly, though, it was boring. I almost threw the whole thing out. Then I played the barbecue tape, dated July 2002. Another family moment, adults chatting and drinking, kids running through sprinklers. The same young man, now a teen, was burning burgers on the grill. I was half watching, half scrolling my phone. That's when it glitched. The screen crackled into a burst of harsh static with a loud buzzing noise through the speakers. It only lasted a second. When the picture returned, everything looked the same. The grill, the kids, party, but something had changed. In the background, hanging from the branches of a large oak tree, there was a shadow. It hadn't been there before. I rewound the tape and watched again. Normal scene, glitch, then the shadow. It looked like a smudge at first, but it had a shape. Tentacle-like, dark, almost like a squid made of shadow, suspended in the tree. I leaned closer, my pulse quickening. It had to be a glitch, right? Some artifact from a degraded tape. That made sense. I shook it off and let the video continue. The The shadow never moved. It just hung there, an eerie, silent figure in an otherwise cheerful memory. I tried the next tape Christmas morning, 2004. The teen showed off a new game console. His family laughing and opening gifts. I was on edge. Now, watching carefully, then it happened again. The static, the loud buzz. And this time, it wasn't in the background, died just for a split second. I saw it in the hallway behind the family, standing in the dark. It was clearer now. Just a shadow, but a figure. Tall and possibly thin, with long limbs that seemed to bend the wrong way. It was in the house, watching them. I replayed that moment in slow motion. Before the glitch, nothing. After the figure, it hadn't been there before. The glitch didn't reveal it, it introduced it. It was being inserted into the footage. That's when the obsession started. I didn't go to work. I stopped eating. I sat alone in the dark, eyes fixed on that flickering old screen, watching every tape. And it was always there. Every tape. The same pattern, normal family moment, then the glitch, then the thing, a wedding. At graduation, a trip to a theme park. Each time, the figure appeared closer than before. In a zoo video, it stood behind glass in the reptile exhibit. In a school play, it lurked just off stage. With every appearance, its form became clearer. The shapeless blob grew into a silhouette, then into a figure with arms, legs, a head. It was grotesque spider-like, but human. Long limbs, twisted joints, motionless. It never interacted, just observed, always there. I felt like I was unraveling. Was I hallucinating? Was this some elaborate horror project? But the family seemed real, too real. The creature was the only thing that felt off. Then came the final tape. It looked older, lower quality. The timestamp read 1995. It showed a hospital room. A woman in a hospital bed, exhausted but smiling. A younger version of the father from the other tapes held a newborn. The man who gave me the box, this was his birth. I waited, stared at the screen, tense, waiting for the glitch, waiting for the shadow to appear in a corner or a reflection. But it did in single quotes. The baby cried, the mother smiled. Camera zoomed in on the infant's wrinkled face. The tape played smoothly from start to finish, no static. No figure, nothing strange. It ended. The screen turned blue. I laughed, half relieved, half hysterical. That was it, just faulty tapes. My imagination had run wild, a sleep-deprived mind, making monsters out of shadows. I reached to turn off the VCR. The TV screen went black. And that's when I saw it. Not a reflection, not a trick. It was there in my room. The corner behind the TV was darker than it should have been. Not just shadow, but wrong, like it swallowed light. And within that black void to glowing, red eyes open. They weren't looking at the TV, they were staring at me. I saw it clearly now. Its long limbs spanned the wall and ceiling like a grotesque spider. Its body twisted, made of shadow. But those eyes, they were real, intelligent, ancient. I didn't scream. I couldn't. I scrambled backwards, fell, and crawled across the floor. My fingers fumbled for the lamp. I found the switch and flipped it on. Light filled the room. It was gone, but I knew it had been there. I stayed in the kitchen the rest of the night, lights on, clutching a knife. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The next morning, desperate for answers, I went to the man's house. I had to confront him. I boxed up the tapes and drove to his street. But when I arrived, there were police cars outside. Yellow tape blocked off the house. My stomach dropped. I parked a few houses down and approached. On foot, a small crowd had gathered. I pretended to be a curious neighbor. Found him this morning. An elderly woman said, "So young, such a shame. What happened?" someone asked. She lowered her voice. "They're keeping quiet, but my cousin's son is on the force," he told me. It was the strangest thing he's ever seen. No sign of violence. The man was just sitting in a chair, but the top of his skull was gone, and his brain was missing. I didn't hear the rest. Her words hit like a blow. His brain was gone. I turned and left, barely holding it together. The tapes felt impossibly heavy as I carried them back into my apartment. I planned to destroy them, burn them, dump them in a lake. As I emptied the box, I felt something at the bottom, a folded note hidden beneath the last tape. I hadn't seen it before. The handwriting was shaky, desperate. I opened it, just a few words. "I'm sorry, it promised me it would leave me alone." That's when I understood. He passed it to me. The tapes weren't trash, they were a warning, Cursed dot, and now I'm stuck. Do I live with this thing, always watching, waiting to feed? Or do I do what he did, hand the tapes to someone else, pass it on to a stranger? But it didn't save him. It lied. It took me and then it came back for him. Maybe that's what it eats. Mine's, I don't know anymore. All I know is that I'm tired, bone deep tired, but I'm too scared to sleep. A dead man walks my neighborhood every night. I'm the only one who sees him. The first time I saw him, I was deep in my neighborhood on a cold winter evening. He stood out immediately wearing just a t-shirt and shorts. As we approached one another, I stepped off the curb while a slow-moving SUV approached. I had my eyes on the pavement when he passed by me. Suddenly, I felt an intense wave of heat, like the blast from an open oven door. The air smelled foul like burnt plastic. I turned just in time to see him cross the street. That's when I noticed the second strange thing. The SUV rolled to a stop at the intersection. I yelled and waved my arms, trying to alert them, but the car passed right through him. He didn't react, didn't even look up, just kept walking. That's when I caught the third detail. His body was faintly translucent, not completely see-through, but enough that I could glimpse the outline of a house behind him. I watched until he rounded the corner. Then I ran home, glancing behind me to make sure he wasn't following Dot at that point. My life felt like limbo. I was 22, freshly out of college, living at home, and still hunting for a real job. I worked part-time at a grocery store and spent the rest of my time submitting applications. I had this persistent itch to do something drastic. Maybe move to Hollywood and live out of my car while I wrote screenplays, or sell everything and travel the country in a van. I craved change any kind, even if it was reckless or difficult. Maybe that's why I returned to the street where I first saw the ghost. He didn't show up the first few nights, but I could always smell that same acrid stench, sometimes faint, other times fresh. I started making it a habit, almost like I was investigating something paranormal. One Sunday evening, I was walking about 20 feet behind a couple pushing a stroller when I saw him again. Same outfit, same walk. I froze. Neither the parents nor the ghost acknowledged one another. The man just walked straight through them. No one noticed. My pulse pounded in my ears. Still, I stood my ground. If there was meaning behind why I could see him, I wanted to understand it. As he passed by, the heat and smell overwhelmed me. I got dizzy and saw spots. Then he continued on and I followed. He didn't go far, less than 5 minutes. We turned a corner. He headed toward a house, then vanished as he stepped into the yard. I stood there catching my breath. A voice called out behind me, "You saw him too, didn't you?" I turned. A tall guy, probably my age, looked down at me with a smile. Kind of smile someone gives when they're pleasantly surprised by you, like a teacher impressed by a student solving a tough problem. "Yes," I said. "Who is he?" "No idea, but you followed him, right?" I nodded. "That's how I found him too. He always walks the same route, then disappears here. I think this might have been his home. Why here? No clue." Like I said, I found him the same way. "Want to grab a coffee?" I laughed in surprise. He flinched. "That a no?" he asked. "Yes," I blurted, then corrected myself. "No, let's get coffee. You can tell me more about him. I don't know much else, but I can tell you about me, and maybe you'll tell me about you." I don't know if I agreed because of his smile or because I didn't want the story to end. Either way, 15 minutes later, we were outside, a cafe with drinks in hand. "So, how often do you see ghosts?" he asked. "Not often," I replied, hiding the fact this was my first. Wanted to seem like I belonged in this strange club. "I've seen them since I was a kid," he said, staring at his drink. He told me his childhood home was across the street from where we'd seen the ghost. Now, he lived in the city, but still visited to watch the man. It was the only ghost he'd ever seen that never left. We started seeing each other regularly after that. Coffee, dinner, movies, walks. I wouldn't say I had romantic feelings for him, but I did feel tied to him. We shared something, this ability, this secret. But he also seemed quietly desperate, like he was always hoping I wouldn't leave. Pitied him, but mostly he was my way into something bigger than myself. So, when he invited me to his apartment, I agreed, not out of obligation, not out of fear, but curiosity. I wanted to understand him. What kind of shampoo did he use? What did his home smell like? What did he keep in his fridge? can't really know someone until you see how they live when no one's watching. His apartment was minimal. No welcome mat, no wall art, just a couch, a TV. Some books stacked on the floor. No dining table, no entryway for shoes. His room had only a bed, a desk, and a computer. You've really embraced simplicity, I joked out. He smiled. Growing up, I was always inside. Now I want to be out as much as I can. At first, it didn't make sense to me. Was being outdoors always better? But later I realized what he really valued was intention. He didn't mind being home if he had a reason. Sleep here, right there. But he didn't want to waste time. That mattered to him. We sat on the couch and talked. I don't remember what about, but I do remember the way he looked, how his eyes softened, how gently he spoke. When he asked, "Will you try to find me?" "What?" "I want you to step outside, wait a bit, then come back in and find me." Something about his tone made me do it. I wanted to make him happy. There was a sadness in him I couldn't ignore. I waited outside for a while. There weren't many hiding spots, but I moved slowly, thinking he might try to scare me. I checked the usual places behind furniture, under beds, in closets. When I opened the bathroom cupboard, I found him curled into a ball under a shelf, rocking and crying. I reached for him, he straightened and stood, and I kissed him. It wasn't how I imagined our first time would go, but yes, that was it. Almost every night after that, I'd find him and we'd make love. I didn't love the hide-and-seek game, but I didn't hate it either. It made him happy, so I kept playing. One night, lying in bed together, he finally told me everything. He saw his first ghost while playing in the backyard with his mom, a yellow dog, walking between a tree and the back door. He thought it was funny until he described it in perfect detail, including the fact it had died before he was born and was buried under that tree. His mom panicked. She pulled him inside and prayed for hours. Later, when he saw a man in gray inside the house, she beat him. He missed school for a week. Over time, the beatings grew worse, but always in hidden places. She believed she could cure him by force that. He started hiding whenever she drank or stayed out late. She would come home screaming for him, always searching until she found him. Part of me felt love, he said. She never stopped looking, even if it was to hurt me. She died when he was 12. That night, he didn't hide. He sat waiting for her. When she tried to slap him, he caught her wrist. She tried again, and he stopped her each time. He didn't hit back, just refused to let it happen. She ran to her room sobbing. I should have hidden, he said. She would have looked for me. In the morning, he found her body, but also found her a ghost, checking closets, searching. I'm right here, he told her. She saw him, raised her fist like before, and swung straight through him. Over and over, he backed away. Why do you want to hurt me? There's a demon in you, she screamed. Stop talking to ghosts, you're one of them, he shouted back. He fled and called the police, but as he looked back through the window, he saw her still searching. I think it's about trauma, he told me, or purpose. Maybe they're the same thing. I was her trauma. Her purpose was to fix me, and when she couldn't, she got stuck. I told him to hide. I looked for him harder than ever that night. We visited the ghost again the next day. Why do you think he's still here? I asked. Trauma, he said. And why can I see him? Connection, you feel it more strongly when you are. We watched him walk until he disappeared. I often wonder, where does he go? Is he trapped between worlds? Does he return by choice or by force? After a while, I started to feel uneasy about our games. Was I helping him heal or keeping him from moving on? I pulled away. Daily visits turned into weekly ones, then fewer. He reached out. I always had an excuse. Eventually, it stopped altogether. I got a job tutoring. It was full-time. I liked it at first, helping kids, guiding their futures. I felt purpose, but routine dulled the excitement. The students grew entitled, uninterested. Their futures were already secured with money. I was just another tool for convenience. They didn't need me. They just didn't want to try. When boredom crept back in, I reached out to him. A few texts, no replies. I couldn't blame him. My last message had been months ago. He'd asked to get dinner. I never responded. I visited the street again, watched the ghost, but without purpose. It was just a spectacle. Like the northern lights, beautiful, but distant. I didn't want to watch life. I wanted to live it. So I drove to his place, knocked. No answer. Tried again the next day. Still nothing. Eventually, I got frustrated. treated it like a broken game I couldn't reset. He was my connection to something greater, and he was gone. So one day, after hours of waiting, I walked in. I called his name, said I just wanted to check in. No response. I searched. I looked in all the places he used to hide. And then in the bathroom, the smell hit me. He was curled in the tub, almost sinking into it. But it wasn't him, it was his ghost. Oh God, I whispered. He looked up and smiled. You found me? What happened? Why didn't you tell me? I could have helped, couldn't I? You were using me. I froze, then broke down. Yes, but I still care. I'm sorry. He said nothing. Why are you still here? Why can't you move on? Things are different. Better. Silence. Then no. Are you choosing to hide? Could you leave? There's a door, but I don't know what's on the other side. You should go. Don't stay here forever. If I go, who will find me? I had no answer. It was already too late. I left. Don't search for ghosts anymore.